Hello, my name's Ian Seeger from Pilot Career News. On the 6th and 7th of November, we held our very first virtual edition of Pilot Careers Live. We streamed over 30 different seminars with 60 speakers. There were 2 days packed full of great information. Of course, we recorded everything, and you're about to watch one of the videos from the event. Before you do, I just want to thank our sponsors, Bose, Alsim, Entro, and of course Pulis. Without them and without the exhibitors, it wouldn't be possible. The exhibitor pages are still live, so feel free to head on over there, go to www.pilotcareerslive.com and click through to the exhibitors. There's loads of information, loads of downloads, all sorts of great stuff there for you. Anyway, enjoy the video, and if you find it useful, really appreciate it if you click subscribe on our YouTube channel. Thank you. Bye-bye.
This is one of these 10-minute interviews that we have throughout the sessions here, and I'm talking to Eugene Moriarty, who's the Flight Operations Director at L3Harris. I believe you started in February, Eugene, which, given that was just slightly before COVID, you must have wondered what you'd done wrong. Anyway, moving on from that, let's chat about training options. I wonder if you could talk us through your views on training options.
Yeah, no, it's certainly been a baptism of fire for me since my introduction. So it's been an interesting period. There's been some really good discussion already this morning on training options, and I just listened to Anthony's really good advice on what you need to consider when you're looking at training options. In the panel discussion this morning, we touched on integrated and modular a fair amount actually, and I thought it's probably worthwhile sort of expanding on those different routes and what may or may not be suitable for individuals looking to follow a career in aviation in pilot training. So probably worthwhile just setting out what those two profiles mean. Just for those who may not be that familiar. So an integrated training route is basically a full-time training course. It's a continuous route of training that would take you from, in theory, zero flying experience through to having a frozen ATPL at the end of it. It'll take in the region of 18 months to complete. And as Anthony sort of touched on there, it requires commitment both financially and from time. You will find that you'll need to go through some form of selection process to enter into one of those programs, and that will include some form of aptitude testing, language assessment, and interview, and some ATOs will do a group exercises and the likes. Sponsorship opportunities and tagging, as Anthony mentioned there, sponsorship and tagging at the moment is probably not something that we're going to see too much of, but you never know, they may return. A modular program is one which, as the name suggests, allows you to split up your training into different modules, namely PPL to start with, hours building to gain the required hours to move into the next stages for your CPL and IR. You need to do your ATPL exams, and then your CPL and IR, and then finally multi-crew cooperation training. So, and each of those modules can be delivered and split up and separated. So both of them at the end of it give you a frozen ATPL. So the end result is the same. The route to get there is subtly different. And there are pros and cons to each of these routes and things that you need to consider to get you to that point.
So I could ask you a quick question about the integrated. How is that working with COVID? Is it similar to the school and university situations?
Yeah, so we've worked really hard in the COVID environment to make sure we've got a COVID safe position. And I know I'm speaking on behalf of L3Harris here, but other ATOs are doing the same thing. So we've looked at the circumstances, and we've put in place robust measures and mitigation around COVID and procedures that allow us to continue operating, even in the increased restrictions that we face under the current position in the UK. We're still able to continue operating, and the UK government have specifically permitted commercial training organisations to continue professional pilot training. And we're confident that we've got very robust measures in place, using things like bubbling of cadets into groups with instructors, specific instructors, accommodation. We often use university type accommodation and bubbling within those within the universities. And I've had some really positive feedback from the cadets that we have in training when I've spoken to them about the procedures we have in place and their confidence in that and their ability to continue training. Clearly some people will be more nervous than others, and clearly we respect that.
So the modular system, I believe there are some time limitations that are linked to the ground school exams. So I think once you've taken your final exam, you have something like 3 years in which to get your CPLRR. Is that correct?
Time limit that is associated with that. Ahead of that, of course, you can do your PPL and your hours building. But from the point of your final ATPL exam, you have 36 months in which time you should have completed the rest of your training and be in a position to apply for your license.
Presumably at the moment, is the modular route gaining in popularity, or?
So I think as Alex highlighted earlier on that some of the larger ATOs that have focused on integrated courses have moved to modular. Of course, we will adapt to what the demand is out there, and so we've always had a modular program within L3Harris. We just re-emphasised that there as an available program. To be honest, we haven't had a significant uptake on it yet, but it's there and it's available. It provides that option of flexibility and doing your training in your own time. So, it depends what you want out of your training, your position in terms of timing and your position in terms of finance, and how you see how optimistic you are about the recovery of the market going forward.
So roughly speaking, if you embark on an integrated course, you would expect to finish that in what, 2 years or?
Yeah, 18 months to 2 years would be the standard timeline.
And clearly with a modular, you can spread things out depending on your availability of funds, time, and the market, I guess.
You spread out, you pace it as you wish. The key timing point that you alluded to earlier on is that once you've done your ATPL exam, so when you're setting out into that point, you sort of need to then have your forward plan projected out to achieve your license before the 36 months is up.
Yeah, I mean, one of the points that we covered in an earlier session was that in order to do the ground school for modular, you need to have an IKO PPL of some kind. So you need to do that first. And we have a question as well from someone about a medical, and whether it's modular or integrated, definitely, but modular, someone saying, do I need a Class 1 medical? My advice, I don't know if yours would differ, would be that you do need a Class 1 medical. You don't want to find out later on that you can't get a Class 1 medical.
Yeah, I think that's good advice. Eventually, if your aim is to be achieving commercial pilot's license and beyond, you want to be sure that you can do that. So if you're going to commit investment into this, that would be my recommendation.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And in terms of modular routes, do you have a kind of any average of how long it's taking people to get a modular license?
Ian, sorry, I got a little bit of an echo, but I think I picked up that in terms of timeline for modular. I think similar to the question we had on the panel earlier on, it depends how you wish to pace your training. So, if you do all of it one after the other, then in theory you could be through modular in a similar sort of timeline to an integrated. But if you were going to do that, then I suspect that you would well be better off doing an integrated course and getting the benefits that provides you.
I'm guessing that if we take, the instrument rating part of it, a modular course would still be a full-time instrument rating, would it?
Yeah, the instrument rating at the end of it, same requirements, for both modular and for integrated course.
Yeah, but it's unlikely that you're going to have one flight every Saturday or something.
Your modular as well. So, our recommendation for modular training is that you take each module as a package and don't spread the module. So, if you want to do your PPL training, then do that block in an intense training so you get that continuity of training. If you choose to spread that out even further, then you come across those issues that you're sort of alluding to there. It's the continuity of training suffers. It will take you much longer, and you may well end up doing more more flying to keep yourself proficient and get to the end point. So our sort of recommended approach would be to take each modular as a mini package and do it in a block.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And regardless of whether you're thinking of going integrated or modular, do you have any advice for things that people could do to prepare? I mean, one of the common questions we get is people who are still at school is, are there specific subjects I could study? Is there some stuff I can do to help prepare myself for the course to better succeed?
Yeah, well, I think there's plenty of opportunities out there. In terms of subjects, then sciences, maths, physics tend to lend themselves towards that sort of technical, and there's the right sort of mindset there, but not it's not necessarily required. And there are plenty of opportunities out there for getting into aviation and experiencing aviation, whether it be going to your local flying club and getting some experience there. Great I'm from a military background, as you know, Ian, and my starting was in the Air Cadets, and my first flying experiences up to solo flying and gliders and indeed achieving my PPL were through sponsorship through the Air Cadets. So there's opportunities out there. Gliding is a great way to get your first feel. It's a low-cost way of getting into aviation as well. So if you're interested in there, go out there, seek those opportunities, and get some experience, get a feel for it. You'll get a feeling as to whether it's something that you really do enjoy or whether it was just a dream that that you hadn't tested out. So go out there, test it, and get some experience. Talk to others, and see what you can learn about the opportunities.
Okay, thank you. One last thing, a question that we've had regarding the integrated course. I mean, everyone understands, well, many people understand the modular course, which you break down into modules. So if you turn up on day one of an integrated course, can you expect the ground training first? How will you progress through those 18 months to 2 years?
Yeah, so you start with the ground training on integrated course. So ATPL theory in a classroom environment. It's around 6 months to get through that training, and then you may then move ready with your ATPL. Not license, sorry, with your technical subjects covered and your exams covered, yeah. And then you're into the flight training phase, and we certainly for our integrated course, you'll run through. You don't achieve a PPL in this, but you do all the similar sort of training through foundation training on single engine aircraft, first solo into cross-country navigation and instrument flying and so forth. Then before moving into the multi-engine environment, up to CPL, CPL-IR, and then within the integrated program also is the move into the full mission simulator environment, and the MCC or AQC, the airline qualification, ready to go to an airline with your license in hand. So it's a fully integrated course all the way through, starting with ground school, ending in license issue.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much. Our 10 minutes are up, I believe. May have even been 12. Thank you for your input, and I believe we're seeing you once more, are we, at some stage?
I'll sign in for the question and answer panel, yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Eugene. Talk to you soon.